Hello everyone and welcome to the third race of the Honda CBR250R National Series, part of the 2014 Mopar Canadian Road Racing Championships from Autodrome St-Eustache, northwest of Montreal, Quebec. This is Frank Wood, your series race announcer, reporting from the third round of the Honda CBR250R National Round from Quebec. This national championship event is presented by Honda Canada, Dunlop, and Mopar. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I will introduce you to the grid for this 14-lap National Championship final for the Honda CBR250R Series. Starting from position number 8 on the back row, number 210, out of Falmouth, Nova Scotia, on the O'Brien Brothers Racing Pro Cycle sponsored entry, Jacob Shaw O'Leary. Moving up to row 2, on the outside of row 2 from P7, starts the number 77 machine, a rider from Halifax, Nova Scotia, Connor Malee. Alongside him on the number 58 bike, with sponsorship from TrackDayHub.com and Help Rider Equipment, number 58, Joshua Thomas. Rounding out row 2, starting from P3 on the Teeny Mech sponsored number 141 out of Oakville, Ontario, Jared Walker. We move now up to row number 1. 4 riders scheduled to start on the row. On the outside is number 181 on the Centre ML entry, J.P. Schroeder. Alongside him on the Teeny Mech entry, number 112, the winner of round 2 at Shannonville, Cameron Walker. Pascal Bastien starts on the number 32 machine from P2. And on pole, Eric Cantan. Oh, and it is a three-way drag race. A three-way drag race down into turn 1. It was Walker, Cantan, and Schroeder who got off the line together. Now they've sorted themselves out through turn 1, peel off into the right-hander we know is turn 2, and now the short shoot down into the bowl. We'll pick them up coming off the bowl on the first of 14 laps. The racers are now stacked up going in through that left-hand corner. The knees are coming out. The throttles are starting to open up, and now they're on the back straightaway. Here they come for their first run down the back straightaway. And on these Honda 250R machines, they're building up the speed and bringing it down into the infield section of St-Eustache. And it looks like J.P. Schroeder, I believe, is the rider with the... No, it isn't. It's Cameron Walker. Walker has the lead with Schroeder running in second, and Eric Cantan trying desperately from third spot. Now we have a rider that's moved into third and taken that position away, but just very briefly indeed. And I believe that to be the Falmouth Speedster. No, it's the number 32 machine. That is the number 32 machine of Pascal Bastien. Bastien, of course, with sponsorship from ASM Motorsports, and he out there dicing it up with Eric Cantan, Cameron Walker, and J.P. Schroeder. Those are the 4 riders at the front. Meanwhile, in pursuit is the number 77 machine of Connor Malee, the number 58 of Joshua Thomas. The TrackDayHub.com entries have started from 6th position, and Jared Walker, the younger brother of Cameron Walker, on the Teeny Mech sponsored machine. Both of those brothers hailing out of Oakville, Ontario, and doing a splendid job here on the Honda 250R Tour. Into the bowl they come once more. The race leader starting to stretch out a bit as Walker's getting a bit of breathing space here in front of the older generation that is charging. Now Walker has had his position stolen from him by the number 32 machine of Pascal Bastien. Bastien tucking in behind Walker and getting a bit of a tow. And the same is true of J.P. Schroeder and Eric Cantan, battling it out there for what is essentially third spot. Meanwhile, on the front straightaway, we pick up on Connor Malee on the number 77 machine as he continues on in pursuit and heads on down into turn number 1. Meanwhile, in the bowl, your race leaders, and things are tightening up a lot. Now we see the race leader who had a bit of a cushion last lap around, now coming up into the bowl, and he has got company. We've got 3 riders now, and I know Cantan is one of them on the white bike, and I believe Cameron Walker has been shunted back now into third spot as Pascal Bastien had taken the raid lead. Now Eric Cantan takes it away from Pascal Bastien, and the two Quebec riders now coming out onto the bowl with Cameron Walker out of Ontario and JP Schroeder. So this is definitely a race that is showcasing the talent of the riders from La Belle Province right now, as Schroeder, Bastien, and Cantan putting on a great show up front, and the only one that can hold a candle to them right now is that youngster out of Oakville, Ontario, the winner of round 2 down at Shannonville Motorsport Park at the early part of June. Cameron Walker is the rider we speak of right now. That is the youngster that's mixing it up with the generation ahead of him, if you will. Onto the back straightaway once more and out of the bowl. It looks like Cantan is starting to get a little bit of distance here on that number 34 machine, the Centre Amel, a Lucky Stripe sponsored machine, holding on to first spot. Meanwhile, Cameron Walker is fighting rather the good fight and got himself back up into second, but that lasted for about as long as it took me to describe it to you, as Bastien takes it away. Now onto the front straightaway, Walker stealing position once more. Pascal Bastien coming up on Walker's right-hand side, and it looked like he was going to try to make a move on Walker heading into turn 1, and then wisely readjusted his line and tucked in behind the number 112 of Cameron Walker and got a bit of a tow heading down there into turns 1 and 2, where they go briefly out of sight from the announcing tower here. Oh my goodness, Cantan is getting some very serious distance here. This is most unusual. A Honda 250R race is usually much closer than this up front, but somehow Eric Cantan on that Centre ML Lucky Stripe number 34 machine has found a secret out there and is doing a splendid job up front. Meanwhile, Pascal Bastien appears to have solved the problem. The number 32 rider, Bastien, on the ASM Motorsports entry number 32. Bastien seems to have solved rather the Walker problem, as I'll refer to it. Cameron Walker running back there in third spot. But even as we comment on that, Walker coming out of turn 2 has closed up the distance dramatically on the back wheel of Bastien. So the battle continues between Pascal Bastien on the number 32 machine and Cameron Walker on the 112. They're side by side now coming out of the bowl in pursuit of Cantan. They're on the back straightaway. Walker and Bastien are completely side by side, handlebar to handlebar now. Off the back straightaway into the bowl they come. Walker leaves the braking to the last minute, and that gets him into second spot. But what for Bastien to make a move to the inside? There he goes. He takes a dive to the inside, and he has cut off the racing line of Cameron Walker. Walker can do nothing but turn off the throttle. Onto the front straightaway they come, again side by side. What a terrific dice. And in a mirror image of what we saw last lap around with Bastien tucking in behind Walker, this time it was Walker that tucked in behind Bastien. So that battle continues and has been going on since the beginning of this race. Cameron Walker, who is tied for the race lead, and he's going to run away with it now with Jacob Shaw O'Leary not making it out to the start. There's a story there, I'm sure, but we're going to have to chase that one down for future reference, as Jacob Shaw O'Leary, all the way in from Falmouth, Nova Scotia. He brought that number 210 machine down. He practiced it, but we did not see him out in the qualifying, and he certainly is not here in the final. Now our race leaders are starting to close up on lap traffic as the number 77 machine, the Halifax speedster, Connor Malee. He will be coming under the pressure of the race leaders now, as Eric Cantan briefly gets by. And this lap around, Cameron Walker has been able to give himself a little bit of breathing spot over Pascal Bastien, but both of those riders right now have to deal with number 77, and they're heading down into turn 3, into the bowl right now, and getting that lap rider, Connor Malee, out of the way. Joshua Thomas on the number 58 machine. Jared Walker is on board the number 141. But your race leader continues to be Eric Cantan, and he has, as we had commented, has built up a sizable distance. This time around, Cameron Walker has been able to hold off Bastien, but Bastien closes in very distinctly on brakes. And watch again as Bastien will stab to the inside. Walker would be wise to move over and block that line, but thus far in this race he has chosen not to do so. Out onto the bowl they come once more. Cantan with the race lead. Bastien holds on to second spot. Walker gets in behind him very briefly. And then as Cameron Walker pulls out from the soft air behind Bastien, he finds himself running into a wall of air and getting stalled somewhat as they head down into turn 2. So Walker held in position by Bastien, running second and third. We pick up now on your race leader, Eric Cantan, on the number 34 machine. 8 laps complete now. They're working lap number 9 as the race leader brings it into the bowl once more on the infield here of Autodrome St-Eustache, the road course here. And this time around, Bastien again moves to the inside, Walker to the outside, and again Walker looks to the inside coming off the bowl. They have been swapping positions like this lap after lap after lap. And so far, we haven't seen any hand gestures or any untoward activity between those two riders, as J.P. Schroeder holding on to 4th place on the Centre ML number 181 bike. Schroeder, having competed in the XR 1200 classes in years gone by, the past couple of years as a matter of fact, then moving into the Honda CBR 250. So he's gone from the largest displacement bike on the field, the XR 1200 class that was with us up until last year, and then he switched over to the smallest class available, and that is the Honda CBR 250R Challenge. Cameron Walker and Pascal Bastien continue this fist fight for second spot, neither rider giving any edge at all. Meanwhile, J.P. Schroeder, Jean-Pascal Schroeder, sitting back there in 4th spot and waiting for things to unravel. We'll pick up on the rider coming off the bowl right now in pursuit, and that is the fine talent that we spoke of out of Falmouth, Nova Scotia, Jacob Shaw O'Leary, with apologies to O'Brien Brothers Racing and Pro Cycle, the sponsors of that young rider. In the excitement of the first few laps, we missed the fact that he had made that start, and he is doing an admirable job after having a rough qualifying session earlier on. Now look to the back straightaway and pick up on our race leaders once more coming into the bowl. And this time around, Walker's got some serious distance. As a matter of fact, it looks like Walker might be reeling in Eric Cantan as this race begins to wind down somewhat. Cantan goes by the start-finish line. Cameron Walker in pursuit. Now Walker, as we mentioned, one of 2 brothers in this race. His younger brother Jared Walker is aboard the 141 machine and started from fifth place. And both of the brothers enjoy the support of Tinamec sponsorship, as once more Jacob Shaw O'Leary on the number 210 machine. The O'Leary family, actually the father Jeff rides the 10 motorcycle. Austin Shaw O'Leary rides the 110. Jacob Shaw O'Leary is aboard the 210. And we carry that through that particular family, as now we pick up on the 141 machine of Jared Walker. And he has caught up to and passed Connor Malee, the Halifax rider, mounted on that number 77 machine. Now the number 58 of Joshua Thomas. Joshua Thomas aboard that number 58 bike. That young lad hailing out of Bobcaygeon, Ontario. That's up in cottage country in Ontario. And he's been on the tour and doing a splendid job of riding at his own personal pace, and perhaps more importantly, bringing that motorcycle home upright and in one piece. Once more, we'll pick up on our race leaders coming off the back straightaway and realize full well that these riders may be coming up into slower lap traffic once more, and that may create some passing opportunities that may not have existed otherwise. Here comes your race leader within the tower's view and into the infield. Now he has displaced the rider in behind him on the red bike as a lapped rider, and then we have Cameron Walker on that number 112 machine coming onto the bowl now, and he'll catch up to and pass the number 58 machine, the aforementioned Joshua Thomas. Walker pulls up right alongside Thomas but can't get the job done. He gets stalled going into turn 1 there, and that is most unfortunate because now Pascal Bastien has caught up the distance once more. Now both riders, Bastien and Walker, are right on top of Joshua Thomas going into turn number 3 as they head down into the bowl there. It looks like they may have not got clear of Thomas as they come onto the back straightaway. We'll get positive identification. Walker moves up, gets the pass done. Now here comes Bastien. He's got it done, but it took them a long time to get by number 58, Joshua Thomas, who's doing a great job out there protecting his lines. And Bastien once more, as we suspected, Pascal Bastien is all over Walker again. Bastien has got a paint job called Walker, and Walker's wearing Bastien red at times now. As a checkered flag comes out, Pascal Bastien will take second spot. Eric Cantan in first, and Cameron Walker in third spot. Fourth place will go to JP Schroeder on the number 181 bike. Great ride by JP Schroeder as he fought it out with the race leaders through the early portion of that course, but ended up in fourth spot and satisfied with that. Fifth place will go to Jacob Shaw O'Leary. That may be a very important points grab for the potential contender for the national championship, remembering that he came into this round tied up for first place with Cameron Walker, but Walker pulls off second spot. Jacob Shaw O'Leary ends up in fifth.